So I want to share with you what has happened ever since I got lean, the leanest that I've ever been in my 30s. And I want to share this personal experience with you. What has happened to me, my experience, and also mentally, right? How my perception and how I view myself, how I carry myself has changed. So right now, at 32 years old, this is the leanest that I've ever been. Being lean truly is a hack, right? It's a life hack. And for some reason, I mean this in the sense that, people are going to start treating you differently, right? Not only the way that you carry yourself, but like how others view you. And honestly, guys, I think especially being in America, right, just being lean in general, it gives you a little bit more status, right? Because majority of Americans are obese, right? Majority of people are over 25% body fat. It's just one of those things, right, that you stop and think about it, and in the long term, right, it's going to start having these negative effects, right, especially when it comes to your health and just in your daily activities, right, productivity, right, your energy levels are going to be low right off the bat, right. And I want to talk about my personal experience. So without further ado, I just want to jump right into it, guys. Being 32 and at the leanest state that I have ever been in, right, I would have never imagined, especially in my 20s, that in my 30s I would be closer to obtaining a six-pack and being at this leaner, just physique or lower body fat percentage, right, that I am now naturally, right? And personally, I want to share my experience with you because, it has been nothing but rewarding, right? Now that I'm able to see more vascularity, right? Like I just look at my forearms, look at my arms, I'm able to see more vascularity in the mirror and just as I'm out and about on daily life, right? Clothes is going to start fitting you more properly, right? It's just going to fit right. Like you ever see like a mannequin, right? It's just going to, it looks like it's tailor made to that mannequin. Well, guys, I'm telling you, right? Your clothing is going to have that slim fit look. It's just going to feel better. It's going to look better. And it's going to start attracting more, right? And with that, you're just going to be radiating more confidence, right? And I mean this in the sense, man, that it is very true, right? Even when you get a pump in the mirror and you get that vascularity, it's just like, maybe you might not even be as big as you were before, but when you're leaner, you just appear to look more like bigger for some reason, right? Like you got more definition and you look more 3D like, right? It's just a better look, man. For some reason, I don't know how that works, but it just works like that, guys, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate, especially you guys that are lean if you're watching this video. And I want to share with you guys, man, right, that it is very attainable, right? Like I was mentioning to you guys, right? In my 20s, I would have never imagined that I'd be having a 4-pack or a 6-pack, right? I guarantee you that by the end of this year, I will have that 6-pack that I'm working towards for, right? But basically, guys, right, I just want to say that once you actually start taking your training and most importantly, your nutrition seriously, right, this goal starts becoming more accessible, right? And the thing is, guys, that the reality is things aren't going to get easier as you start aging, right? So your 30s is going to be a grind. I can only imagine your 40s and 50s, right? This is why it becomes more impressive to me now that whenever I see someone that's in their mid 30s or 40s, that still has a remarkable physique, right, and lower body fat percentage, right, it's just more respectable and commendable, right, because the amount of work that has to go into it versus somebody in their 20s or, that are in their teens, because it's just like, it's a given, right? As long you can get away with a lot of stuff, but really what starts happening is, things start slowing down once you get over, I would say 25 or even 30, right? So basically, guys, man, this is where you're going to have to start, knowing how to start getting lower body fat percentage. And this is where, starting to track, more so your fats, especially your carbohydrate intake, right? You have to be a little bit more strategic how you go about, with your macronutrients and, your caloric intake. But guys, I just want to let you guys know, that there's a lot of positive effects that come out of it, right? Because it's one of those things when, especially if you tell yourself, right, that, I want to be lean, I want to be this lean, mean, shredded machine by this date, right? And when you actually accomplish it and you show up as that guy that you said you were going to become, right? And you did the work, and I'm telling you guys, man, that it's just going to be a very positive, rewarding, and a feeling that you're going to get, right? And honestly, man, I thought that even, just like coming down at a lower body fat percentage, that I would get weaker. But honestly, guys, if you know how to do it right and you actually continue strength training, right, you can cut back on fat and you can still start getting results, right? For some reason, I'm still getting stronger with my squat and my bench press, my pressing movements, right? This is how I know that I'm doing things right, right? And I just want to let you guys know that it's not the end of everything, right? Like, sure, it's going to suck a little bit, but when you first start dieting, but then your body starts becoming acclimated, right? It's just like there's gonna be a shift, but you just gotta grind it out in those beginning stages. Then after that, it's just gonna become more easy sailing, and it's also gonna become like a habit and a routine. So just understand, man, right, that that's what's going to happen. And also, I just want to talk about like the energy levels, right? Once you become a little bit leaner, then you're gonna start having more energy levels for some reason, right? Because when you're carrying more fat, more of that visceral fat, it's just gonna start converting, a lot of testosterone into estrogen. So you're gonna have like even just lower energy right off the bat, and it's just not even healthy for you, right? Because as you start aging, right, like in your 20s you can get away with it, even in your 30s you can probably start getting away with it, but really what starts taking a toll down the road is once you get into your 40s or 50s, right? That's where you're gonna start having a lot of health issues if you continue living that lifestyle where you continue living at this higher body fat percentage, right? You're gonna start seeing more health effects, right? You're gonna be at higher risk of cholesterol, diabetes, right? Strokes, a lot of heart problems, right? Guys, I'm telling you, man, you gotta start now, right? For me, man, even if I do acquire a six pack, it's not gonna become my personality. It's not gonna be everything, right? But it's just one of those things, that keeps you accountable, because if you're able to attain one, then you just know that you can hold yourself to a higher standard and you actually commit to what you're talking about, right? And you're able to just actually stay committed, right? Discipline, right? And that's going to carry you into your 30s, 40s, 50s, right? And, you're going to not become another statistic, right? Per se, right? Because if you start looking at it, man, majority of people, that start having strokes and all these health problems, it starts affecting them in the 40s and 50s. So really, guys, this is more so of a lifestyle, right? Where you just got to carry it out, right? Because your 20s, it was fun lifting, get a nice physique, right? But more so now, it's more about longevity, health, right? Rather than trying to look good, right? The looking good part, it has positive effects, and it's just a positive side effect that comes with it. So enjoy it. But mainly what I want to hone in on is the health associated benefits, right, of being leaner. So really, I just want to leave you guys with that. Make sure, you guys leave a comment. Make sure you guys tune in, right? Drop in some feedback, what you guys think, what I just kind of touched on today, right? Maybe this can relate to you, or if not, maybe this is an eye-opening video that can hopefully, snap you out of it and make you just start, taking a hard reality check, start looking deeper, right? And start questioning yourself. What are you doing right? What are you doing wrong? And what can you do to change things, right? So that you yourself, right, can start building a, more leaner, healthier you, right? So that down the road, you can enjoy to see more, of your hard work, whether you have a family, you're able to see your grandchildren, be there more for your kids, right? Have more energy, right? Or you just want to, add longevity to your life, right? You want to live a more peaceful, more healthier life, right? Where you're still able to do hikes and walks and enjoy, travel or whatever it is that your goals may be, right? So make sure you guys leave a like, hit a comment, and make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video.